guys, how are you? I am super excited to be here with you guys. I've been waiting all day for this. I actually finished my sessions a little bit ago. I am on the East Coast, so it is a little bit later for me than usual, but I am still super excited to be here with you guys. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Vanessa. I'm a pranic healer. I'm the founder of Prospera Mama, and Prospera Mama is a coaching company, and what we do is we create conscious entrepreneurs, and that is created through energetics and business strategies. And I'm going to explain to you a little bit more. So it's really important that I set my intention, and my intention is that I share with you the information that I have that can together we can grow higher consciousness. And that's a concept that I kind of want to talk a little bit about. When somebody says let's expand in consciousness, that means that people have the same concept, they anchor it, it resonates with them, and we expand. So it's a bunch of people bringing energy to the same concepts, and that's how they expand in consciousness. So before we start, I thought that we would do 30 minutes kind of me sharing information, and then 15 minutes of questions, and like that we can really interact, and I think that that's how I can serve you best. Okay, I will read the comments, but if you have any questions, I obviously will come back to this Facebook Live and I will respond. So I think it's interesting that I'm going to quickly share my story just so that you guys know kind of why I'm here and what I'm going to do, why am I doing what I do. I was introduced to pranic healing when I was in Colombia. And before I went to Colombia, I started a business at 19 with my husband, and we grew it to 7 figures. It was a very successful construction business, and we went to Colombia to follow my husband's dream, to pursue his dream to have a specific business there. And things quickly got out of control. We lost everything, and we had to come back to the United States. But in that turmoil, I knew I needed something, and I kind of lost faith in God, to be honest with you. And I grew up in a Catholic background, and then I got married in a Christian background. But I knew I needed something else. I was introduced to metaphysics when I was 7 years old by my uncle. So I always knew, he just told me, Vanessa, do you know that we have this power in our mind that we can move objects? I'm never going to forget that. And I never forgot about that. And I remember that he showed me a book. And then when I saw him a few weeks later, I asked him, and he said, forget about it. Don't tell your mom I ever told you this. Please just forget about what I told you. But obviously I did it. So that kind of sparked that interest in me. Then around that same age, I would tell my mom things that would happen. And my mom once got really freaked out because I was really on point. And she kind of said, don't ever share that with anybody. So I guess that was where that was cut off. But that interest for the mystical in me never stopped. I went to high school in Colombia, and I would go to old bookstores, and I would buy oracles and books on angels and just on mystical things. And I'm 34, so this was over 20 years ago. So in Colombia, fast forward, we were in Colombia, and we were going through this turmoil. And I told my friends, like, I was searching for something. My soul was really searching for its purpose, but I didn't know that at that time. So I was introduced to Kundalini Yoga. I actually had never taken a Kundalini Yoga class, but I went to the introduction class, and they were doing an introductory class to get certified as a Kundalini Yoga teacher. And I had no idea, but I really loved when they spoke about chakras. And I was like, what? This is home. I want to do this. So I started doing Kundalini teacher certification. It's a 2-year program in Colombia. And at the same time, I was doing a certification in NLP, which is neuro-linguistic programming. And it's super interesting. And I was always interested in psychology and just things like that. I guess it was the mystical, but I didn't know how to word it. So one of my friends from the class said, listen, I really like what you're doing. It's really interesting, but you should see this friend of mine. He is a pranic healer. And as soon as he said that, I was like, what does that mean? And he's like, well, he measures the energy in your chakras, and he tells you where there's a congestion of energy. I already had books on this, but I didn't know. I knew I wanted to measure energy. I knew I wanted to feel it, but I didn't really know how or what it was or if it even existed. And pranic healing is just an energy healing modality. And I don't know why I do know why. I have a science brain, meaning anything that doesn't have a science background, I cannot anchor it into my life. And when I say anchor, I mean I cannot accept it like a process or a concept that's real or a tool that I can use later on in life. So when he said that, I thought the first thing that came to mind was kind of, oh, he's like a doctor, an energy doctor. Okay, that sounds interesting. So I went and I saw him. It was a beautiful consult, but he measured it. He measured my energy centers or chakras with machines. So this I was looking for something to kind of help me get out of the situation that we were in, right? It was a very stressful situation. I was just looking for something that would help me get out of it. And at the same time, I was introduced to a lady in Colombia that worked with the oracle, numerology, the angels, guides, spirits, and she would only pass down this lineage, or she would only pass down these concepts if her guides allowed her to. So I was doing both. And I remember she said, I told her, Orfa is her name. And I told her, Orfa, yo quiero comprar todas estas máquinas. I wanted to buy all these machines that he had used. And I'm never going to forget, she said, there's no more valuable tool than your hands. And at that time I was like, yeah, right. I just want to do this like in a very professional way with machines and give the person the report and send them off. Long story short, we came to the United States. I found the Pranic Healing Center here, and you can take basic Pranic Healing, advanced psychotherapy, which is super interesting to me because it means that there's holes in our energy centers that correlate or correspond to psychotherapy needs, depression, anxiety, mental health, really. I guess more serious mental health issues, bipolar, things like that. So I took the course and I was like, okay, this is what I want to do. I'm home. I also got certified as a business coach. I invested in a high level business coaching when I had $0. I only had purses left, and that's what I did. I sold them because I really started to follow this intuition and this pull. And I was like, if it's not now, it's never. So that's a story for another day, but that's really how I did it. I had to feed my family. I had to make this a business because I had to feed them. So, and I'm a mom of 3 girls. 2 were born in my belly and 1 was born in my heart. And I have a husband of 16 years. So long story short, which is why you guys are here, is to learn about pranic healing. So pranic healing is the study of energy centers. And energy centers are also called chakras, and they say, or it's common that we hear that we have 7 chakras. In reality, I'm going to tell you guys a secret. That's not so much a secret anymore. We have 12 chakras, and this information is based on the lineage of Master Choka Sui, which was the founder of modern pranic healing, and he brought it here to the Western world, I think. Yeah. So what it means is that each energy center corresponds or is responsible for our mental, physical, and emotional bodies. And it's really interesting because Victoria today put a post about our bodies and how they look, our aura and our energy bodies, how they look when we have a congestion of energy. So congestion of energy means that it's energy in motion or emotions that are not processed. So they get stuck in these energy centers. And chakras should be from 7 to 12 centimeters. And in pranic healing, you have specific chakras. They look a specific way in each center of our body. So we have minor and major chakras in pranic healing. And before I continue, I just want you guys to know that I don't have the universal truth. This is what's worked for me. This is what I believe in. This is what I bring energy and intention to. But you experience it, you experiment with it, and whatever works for you is your universal truth, right? So I respect every other energy worker or every other intuitive worker. For me, there's no one that's better than the other. I just like this one because it has somewhat of a science background and you can measure it. So that for me worked because I was like, okay, if I can measure it, then I know it's working. So what they teach you in pranic healing is that with your hands, we actually have chakras in our hands, and you guys can do this right now if you want. And all you have to do is activate them by touching them. And if you pretend like you are holding a little ball of light, you will feel it. And to the point where you can no longer close your hands, that is where the energy is at that moment. And that's kind of the concept that we use for each chakra. The interesting part is that since each chakra corresponds to an illness, your emotional, mental, and physical well-being, it's like a map. It's like an energetic map. You know exactly what's going on with that person without that person having to tell you anything, because you can just feel it. And everybody can be a pranic healer. You just have to develop the skill. And the more you do pranic healing, the more you feel the energy, right? So you get to feel energy in every part of your body, and you get to see where there's a congestion. We have emotional bodies, we have mental bodies, and we have something called bioplasmic body. It's nothing more than energy body. That's all it is. There's nothing more to it. And when there's a congestion in these, you feel, for example, if you have a congestion in your root chakra, which is the chakra that is supportive, it's the last one, or the one that's closest to the earth. So that's the one that, when you typically say you're being grounded or you should ground yourself, well, that's the chakra that is responsible for that. And that means that we are codificados to come here to this earth in a family, in a support system, in a community. That's also why we tend to be in communities. That's really important for us as humans. So when that energy center is congested, you feel like you are blocked, or you can't get ahead, or you feel very overwhelmed, and you feel like you can't get ahead in life, right? You need your legs to get ahead. And when there's a congestion in that energy center, your legs are affected. So that would be like your physical. So if you have a pain in your legs, if you have a pain in your constant lower back, then that's where the congestion of energy is. And what happens there, what represents in the physical plane or in this earth, or what's physical, is that the physical part is that you get pains or cramps, or your lower back hurts, or you just have a pain there, right? In the emotional part, you feel literally stuck, like you cannot walk, you cannot advance, you just don't know what's going on. A lot of this has to do with our mom. And this is something that's pretty interesting, because when I bring this up to my clients, they're usually like, yeah, that totally makes sense. That doesn't necessarily mean that if you have issues with your mom, then you're never going to get ahead in life. It's just awareness. Once you know, you created awareness. And once you create awareness, you can unblock that energy center. So that's interesting, because you can unblock it and you can just move forward, right? Something else that's really interesting is that also when we have cancer, we have that energy center is one of the ones that's mostly blocked or congested. Another thing that's really important for us as women, especially as Latinas, is that our solar plexus, which is in our stomach, and it controls all of our digestion, all of our pancreas, liver, intestine, stomach, is where our confidence is. Okay, it's our outer roar to the world. So when we have a congestion there in the physical part, it can mean like we have problems with indigestion, we have problems with acid reflux, we have problems with constipation, which is anger that we're holding on to our body and we cannot let go, or we just literally cannot let go of an issue or a problem. So that's another way that we know that there's a block there, right? It's also really cancer survivor. Hi, Cindy. Congrats. That's amazing. So yesterday, the doctor, and I want to say her name correct, I think it's Lydiana, and I hope I'm saying it correctly. I loved her for her chat, because she was saying that part of her study now is past trauma, or things that lineage that we come in our DNA. And I want to bring this up because there's something called epigenetics. And epigenetics says that only 1% of the population comes predisposed to an illness, to a disease, to a cancer, to something, big and detrimental to our health. The rest is the environment that signals the gene. And that is really important, because if your environment signals your gene and you can get really sick, then your environment is also responsible for you being healthy, or getting to a point of self-healing. And self-healing is nothing more than when you're at this quantum field, and we'll get into more of that. But when you're at this quantum field, and what happens is that the energy is released from all of your energy centers, and it comes up to your heart. Your heart center is the most important energy centers that we have, period. This is where energetic downloads and all the energy of survival, of roar to the world, is actually comes together, and this is where we create from. Now it's becoming more like a more universal concept. Lead from your heart, speak from your heart, feel from your heart, act from your heart. That's a way of getting into alignment immediately. And it's so beautiful. This energy work and chakra work is something that I am so grateful that I went through all the craziness to get here, because for you, if you want to get into alignment, it's our divine right to be prosperous and abundant, right? And if you want to do that and you don't have any other tools, you don't need anything else than to think, meaning bring your intention into your heart chakra. That's all you have to do to activate it. Just think about it. And you can do it right now as we're speaking. You just have to think about it. You can put your hand on your heart. It's okay. And that activates it. So you speak from there. You feel from there. You just pretend like you're speaking from your heart. You pretend like you're thinking from your heart, and like you're acting. Why is this important with pranic healing? Pranic healing, for me, goes hand in hand with quantum physics. It is non-denominational, which was really important because that means that anybody from any religion can practice pranic healing. If I have mommies here, I want to tell you that if you learn pranic healing, and you guys that are on like in LA and California, you're really lucky, because one of the 8 masters of pranic healing, there's only 8 right now currently in the world. His name is Master Stephen Coe. He is the one that opens for Tony Robbins, all of Tony Robbins' event. I had the privilege of taking some of his classes and being certified in spiritual business management with him. And you guys can take his classes there, basic pranic healing, crystal pranic healing, the whole 9 yards. And he's an amazing master, and he believes a little bit more of quantum healing or quantum physics, and he incorporates it into pranic healing. So that's like a treat that you guys can get. Another thing is that as mommies, pranic healing, the removal of congested energy, speeds up the healing process up to 3 times. So pranic healers are very strict. They have like strict rules. I don't want to say that we are energy doctors or that we heal, but what we say is that we can accelerate the process up to 3 times, which is pretty amazing. So when my girls get sick, the baby, which is 4, all her life she's been exposed to pranic healing. She knows how to do it. She knows how to cleanse and remove the congested energy, and it absolutely works. The older one she still gets a little bit amazed, because now that we can feel it, she can feel it too. She can sense it. So she gets like pretty amazed about it. So that's a tool, and that's kind of one of the goals of pranic healing, that in every household there's one pranic healer, just so that you can cleanse your home, you can cleanse the energy in your office, in your business, and with your children. That's really important, like for just life lessons in general. I'm just gonna scroll down a little bit to make sure that I have that I can get the comments. So remember that I told you guys earlier that for me it was really important. I feel your energy through the screen. Oh, thank you so much. That's so amazing. Thank you. So guys, remember that I told you that I was in this crazy situation and that I really needed to get out of it. My goal was that I would use these tools not only to heal myself, but to grow a business. And my vision and mission in life is that every mom needs to be a 6-figure earner. And the reason why is because you need the funds to create an impact in your family, in your community, and in your generations. And I don't know about you guys, but that I really want to create my ripple effect. I really want my children to have better, higher consciousness, right? To be conscious entrepreneurs, because I think that when we are conscious entrepreneurs, we stop thinking about ourselves and we think about others, like in community. And that in pranic healing is called the golden rule. And the golden rule means that what you give, you get twice as much. So I think that that's pretty amazing. And just a quick like energetic business tip is, if you ever feel stuck in your business, and instead of thinking about how this person can give me something, you think, how can I make this experience for them even better? That is going to immediately increase your vibration. It's going to generate more clients, more sales, more therapy, more session, whatever business you're in. It absolutely works. So I started, my background is in business, right? I was able to create a very successful business at a young age. So I was like, you know what? I want to do this, but in an energy way. Like, I want to use energy to do this, because that to me meant that I would have some type of control, and I would be able to take out like the guessing part of it, right? Because when you're working with energy, you're in the quantum field, and the quantum field, pretend like it's a football field, and there's every single possibility, right? And for those of you that don't follow Joe Dispenza, please do so. His name is Dr. Joe Dispenza. I am currently obsessed with him. I am going to go on a cruise with him in October, which is like my life dream currently. So follow his teachings. They will change your life forever. So I was like, okay, if energy is everything and these chakras affect our physical, emotional, and mental body, then this has to translate into our business. And I created something called business chakras. And before we move on, and before I kind of share with you guys this, I want you to know that in pranic healing and in quantum physics, every thought that we has energy. And when we get ideas, the reason why we want to be aligned is because we get energy downloads or energetic downloads. And these energetic downloads are like this intuitive idea that you're like, I have to do this, and resistance might show up, which is normal, but you're like, I have to do this, and no matter what anybody says or what anybody thinks. That was an energetic download that you were able to get because you were at that frequency of that information. But here's the thing, a lot of people are at that frequency of information at the same time. So what I created business chakras, maybe there's other ways of business chakras, I don't know, but for me, it made total sense. And that was like, okay, this is truly where I want to be and what I want to develop. And I started working with my clients, and I was like, okay, if you have congestion in your throat chakra, and your throat has to do with your sex chakra also, it's correlated. There's some chakras that are correlated. So if it has to do with your sex chakra, and sex is creation, and throat is being able to speak your truth, being able to communicate perfectly, this person in their business might have a congestion of being able to verbalize or communicate their services or what they're selling, or being able to close clients in that way, right? Because obviously you need to have a clear form of communication for the person to be like, okay, I want this, or more than I want it, I need it. So I was like, okay, a congestion in your throat is going to translate in your business to not being able to really communicate your services, right? You have like doubts, because you're not really able to speak your truth. And I started experimenting with my clients, and they were like, yes, that's it. And I was like, okay, this is working. This is how it works. And then I was like, okay, if you have a congestion in your solar plexus, and that is your confidence and outer roar to the world, if you translate that into your business, you have a congestion in your marketing, because your marketing is where you're going to feel the most confident, because that's what you're putting out to the world in order to also attract attention, right? And when you're not confident, the last thing that you want is attention. Is that not true? Like you want to hide, and you just don't want to have any eyes on you, right? That's kind of how it works. So, okay, there's some comments that I want to, so it's so true. So I'm like super sick and congested, and automatically I knew I needed energy healing. Yes, it's so amazing. And maybe we have a little bit of time, we can talk a little bit of what's going on. And once you know the root, the emotional root, or the energetic root of the illness, you'll be able to clear it sooner. So the reason why I talk about business chakras is because once you are able to create an impact with your business, things flow better, guys. When we have funds and when we're able to do and create and give back, things emotionally flow better. So another one that's really important is your heart chakra. Your heart chakra is where your ideal client comes into place. And it's really funny because a lot of people get stuck on your ideal client, but if you truly are honest with yourself, meaning all this energy from these lower centers that are congested come up, is released, it comes up, and you unite that with your energetic download, then you're able to clearly from your heart define, have a true purpose. Your business has to have a true purpose in order to have an ideal client. So I was like, okay, this works. So what we do is we kind of show the person where the energy block is, and they can translate it into their business, or vice versa. Sometimes you start with your business and it translates into you. The reason why you want to do pranic healing is because the first three centers, which are called the survival centers, do not allow us to really be the best version of ourselves, to really what people call like follow your soul's calling, or become really intuitive, or really achieve your goals, or really step into your future, right? It doesn't allow us, because if you are living in survival, it means that the cortisol, which is one of the hormones that is released when we are in flight or fly, is controlling all your organs. It's controlling your organs, it's controlling your body, and it's even controlling your mind, because your body secretes these hormones that go to your mind, and they put us in the state of overwhelm and blocked and not being able to think correctly, and procrastination. So that's very important that we remove that congestion of energy. And one of the tricks, like if you don't know about pranic healing, or if you don't go to a pranic healer, one of the best tricks is that we do a pattern interrupt, an energetic pattern interrupt. And that means that before you step into the emotions that your body is accustomed to. It's also called your past present, because everything that you are living and experiencing now, guys, you created it. You created it through your words, you created it through your intentions, and you created it through only energizing the bad or the negative. So once you energize it, you make it bigger. Whatever we focus on expands. That's really the science behind it. Wherever we take our intention, which is our attention, it makes it bigger. So part of the reason why it's important to do that energetic pause is because you do not want to start your day or step into your day with the stuck emotions of yesterday. So one of the best things that you can do is a meditation, and I will link a pranic healing short version meditation. They do twin hearts meditation, which is really amazing because it also correlates with quantum physics, because they activate their heart and their crown chakra. And that's exactly what you do in quantum physics, right? That's where you want to create from, or that's where you get access to the field of infinite possibilities. So when you do this meditation, which is actually very powerful, you are immediately going to feel a difference. And you guys are in for a treat, because Master Stephen Coe, which is the master that is close to you guys, is actually the one doing it, and he does pranic healing for you guys. And if you believe it, and I promise you, you will feel the difference. That is an amazing way to start your day. If you have a business, you have to start your day with the pattern interrupt. You must start your day with the pattern interrupt, because when we pattern interrupt, we remove all this congestion of energy, and we are able to have those energy centers working in our favor. And the way that they work in our favor is when your creativity flows, when you're in motion, when you have no fear of procrastination, and what you're doing is taking action. So you need that pattern interrupt as a business owner. You need that more than business strategies. I promise you. That's what a conscious entrepreneur does. So part of the reason why I started in all of this journey was that it was because I needed, it was my soul's calling. I didn't know it, but I also needed something that would help me really become the person that I wanted to be. And this is a day by day work progress. Like, it's not something that happens overnight. At least for me, it didn't, and I have to be really honest and kind of vulnerable. It's something that we have all these limiting beliefs that we've been born with, and the doctor was explaining it yesterday. They're in our DNA. That doesn't mean that we cannot remove them. Once we create awareness, we're able to remove them, because a way of removing them is taking yourself out of the equation and thinking of this like in a third party, right? So for example, you're in a situation where you find yourself and you scream, or you lose it and you just are in low vibrations, right? If you take yourself out of the situation and you create awareness, you're like, okay, I see how I'm acting, but this time I'm not going to act like that. You not only take the power back, but you pattern interrupt, which means you literally created a new neural pathway in your mind to get from point A to point B without acting the same. So you took energy away from that limiting belief, and you created a new energy belief, a new expanded belief. So it's pretty awesome, and it's quick and it's fast. But you don't have that control if you didn't have a pattern interrupt earlier in the day. Like, if you didn't start your day with a pattern interrupt, it's pretty hard to do that, because you're just living by the emotions of the past, even if it's in your present and you're just like, I can't do this. Has that happened to you guys? Okay, so let's read a little bit of comments, because we're at the 30-minute mark, and I want to open it up for questions and serve in any way that I can. I'm committing to meditate in the morning. It sounds amazing. Yes, Carmen. I usually do it at night. At night also is important, and it's good because you kind of really see all that tension and all that energy that you created throughout the day, or that you were involved throughout the day. Before I go, I want to tell you guys something. How the doctor said yesterday, your environment is so important. I think that the first point, or one of the priorities that you have to make, is that whoever drains your energy, whoever you feel, and this is a way that you know that energy is true. When you walk into a space and you leave that space feeling drained, or that person, or it's always the same conflict, that is a toxic person. And we have these energetic cords that usually come from our navel or our belly button. And what happens there is that you're giving all that energy to that person. They're called energy vampires because they are literally sucking your energy. If your energy was measured before you entered that situation or that place or person, and after you left it, you will be able to see that there is a descent in energy. And not only a descent in energy, but there's also the energy should be kind of white and yellowish, and it starts getting gray, which is congestion of energy. Something else that is really important and super easy to do is this. Guys, when you turn on incense, what you're doing is telling your mind that you can relax, that you can let go, that you can breathe, that your automatic nervous system doesn't have to be on alert, that there's a predator coming to find you, because that's what happens when we're in stress. So an incense, not only is it good energetically because mirra, palo santo, sage, is that the vibration of that plant is to release energy or to clear it, but it's also anchoring that memory in your brain. So it's like double goodness that you're getting. Another trick that pranic healers usually don't share, but I want to share with you guys, is salt. Salt is a mineral, obviously, and it absorbs all negative energy. There's a video on my Instagram that shows exactly how you do it. It's very simple. You get a ball of water. I get at the dollar stores, just a regular big bowl. I work from home. My office is at home. So I have clients during the day, which means that there's a lot of energy interaction like we're doing right now. Believe it or not, we're interacting energy. So I flush it down the toilet every day. If you're at home and you don't have a lot of visitors, you can do it every 2 days. You get a bowl, you fill it with water, and you put probably 3/4 of a cup of salt. You do this with regular dollar salt, but energy salt baths, that's why they work. That's why they release energy and they decongest you. And after you take it, you feel amazing. 2 things. No more than 15 minutes if it's a bath. And if it's regular, you're scrubbing yourself like a body scrub, then it's recommended that you use like higher quality salt, because the regular salt from the dollar store or the supermarket is actually pretty high in toxins, so it's not good for you. Coffee is another secret. It's actually really good for cellulite and circulation. I know, because I was a medical esthetician, but it's also really good to decongest energy, to release any energetic cords that you form throughout the day. So those are little like tricks that you can use. But really important, guys, really important is your environment. I promise you, you need, and I want to say this because this group has been amazing. It's probably the only group in Facebook that I know that is so supportive, and Victoria's energy is incredible. So it's not really that it's like a surprise that her group is like that. It's more because of what she's radiating. And it's a non-judgment. When we talk about energy, energy cannot go hand in hand with judgment. You do not judge yourself. If you lost your shit yesterday, 3 minutes ago, 2 minutes ago, an hour ago, that already happened, that passed, and it's just part of your learning experience. So that's another common energetic block that we have, that we think if we're not perfect and we don't have everything together, then we can't move forward, or that we can't be spiritual. Absolutely not. That's not true. We came to have a spiritual experience in a physical body, and that is true. Hi, Karini. It's so good to have you here. Okay, I'm trying to get to the comments, but how do you do the coffee? Okay, so the coffee, you just, after you grind your coffee, like after you make coffee in the morning, you actually get the little seeds, or what's left. I don't know what it's, coffee ground. Right? Yeah, that's how you say it. And you just put it in a little cup. You take a shower, you do a scrub with it. It's actually really good for your face also, but it has to be, if you're going to use it on your face, organic and preferably low acidic coffee, because you don't want to put regular coffee. But if you're going to do it in your body, you can even do it on your feet, and you just scrub your feet. If you can't take a shower or bath, but you feel really tired, and you just have extra coffee that you did in the morning and you haven't taken it out of your coffee maker, you can put it in your feet, do a 5-minute scrub, and then just wash it off, and it's actually going to help a lot. It's really, really powerful. It's really good. Let's see. Okay, let's see. I love the energy in the group. Yes, the energy in this group is amazing, and there's no surprise. There really is no surprise. So let me see what other tricks I can give you guys. Yes, this is a really important trick, guys. If you have to be in a toxic environment, you make sure you cut that cord, okay? And you're gonna do it in a way that not a lot of people have to see it. This is really not about like, let me show you I'm cutting the cord from you. No. The cord is usually in your belly button, and it's formed with you and the other person. So you pretend from your belly button, like if you had scissors, you cut the cord, and you want to make sure you throw it like in a garbage pail, literally like in the garbage. You don't want to leave that negative energy or congested, low vibration energy around. You don't want to do that. And that immediately stops it. If you are speaking with somebody and you're not receptive to their energy, cross your feet and cross your arms. Just, you can just literally just stand there and do that, and that is a form of protection. They might kill me in pranic healing if I teach this to you guys, but that's okay, because it won't leave the group, right? You only use it for your own self-protection, I guess. One more thing that's really important, and I did not want to finish this because it's really crucial. It's that as women, the main block that we have in business is in our solar plexus, and it's in our confidence. We truly have this energetic block, and it's a lot has to do, and I say Latinas or Hispanics, and I say that with the full respect because yo soy Latina, yo soy colombiana, yo nací en New Jersey, pero mis papás son colombianos y mi esposo también lo es. Entonces yo soy colombiana, and we grew up with a lot of like disempowering beliefs, and all those words that you say actually get stuck in that solar plexus, in that congestion of energy in your solar plexus, which is in your stomach, and you truly feel that what you have to offer to others, it's not enough. That's why we have trouble charging. That's why we have trouble when there's an energetic exchange of money. Energetic exchange of money, it's just that we have to have a balance. There has to be a scale. If I give you something and you give me something in return, we are in scale, and it's like everything is going to flow better. And that is so important. Like, if you really truly know that you are being guided and that you are supported and that your voice matters and that all those limiting beliefs are just anchoring you down to low vibrations, that will make such a huge change in your life. I see this daily. When we give somebody a box where I believe in them maybe more than they believe in themselves, they flourish. It's no coincidence that people are like, oh, after a session with your coach, any coach, right? Hopefully a good coach, you're like, oh, I closed clients and I was able to close more sales, or things that you didn't expect happen. It was because you let go, you activated that solar plexus, meaning that the energy in the survival centers, instead of being stuck and slow, is actually high vibration. That's why you're on a higher vibration, like they say, and that's why you create from the unknown. So that's really, really important. Coffee helps with stretch marks and with cellulite because it removes dead skin cells and it activates circulation. And we have lymph nodes, which is like the garbage of our body, like the little garbage system. So that's why it helps. It absolutely helps. Thank you, Carmen. Thank you so much. So yes. Oh, Carmen says, I do that without thinking. That's intuition. So all this lineage that we have, especially as Latinas, that we have this healing in us, girls, like this healing is in us. This is why we do things without maybe thinking about it or not knowing where it came from. And I want to tell you guys something. I see a lot of pranic healers. I see a lot of healers, and they are not making the money. And I bring this up because I know that if you're in this group, it's because energy resonates with you. And maybe a lot of you want to create a business based on your gifts. And the biggest block that they have is that they can't be a good healer. Like, you have to have these special techniques or these special tools or these special, I don't know, or another belief that we want to debunk right away right now is, I need to take another course, I need to get certified, I need to read another book. Absolutely not. That's keeping you in the I need space and not I'm doing it space. I'm learning as we grow. The universe only gives you the clients that you can handle, the situations where you're going to be productive, where you're going to give your best. So if somebody needs to hear that, please know that you do not need another certification, you do not need another book. Guys, I'm not kidding. I wish I could show you. We just did my house, so I don't have them here. I have probably 20 or 25 certifications and diplomas. And to be honest with you, until I didn't really like activate it and go, okay, I don't need not one more. I'm going to create where I'm at and grow from there. Things didn't really change for me. So that's important that you guys know. Please, if you think you need another book, another certification, another, and I'm all about education, but what you have now, that calling that you have now, is enough. Do you think that healers years ago got certified? No, it was lineage that was passed. And just as our environment signals our gene, that knowledge, we have it within our genes. It's enough. We don't need more. Okay, let's see. I know our time is getting close. We have about 5 more minutes, but let's see. I can't type. Haha, that's how excited I am. Yes. Guys, I encourage you, like, really learn more about healing. There's self-healing. There's amazing healers out there. There's amazing intuitive healers. And now I feel like this collective consciousness is growing. So more information is passed down or around, and more people are really coming to their truth and being like, okay, I can do this. I was born for this. We now know that we shouldn't shut off the gifts that God has given us, because that was another thing. Pranic healing and quantum physics really led me to know that there's a higher conscious, and that's God. For me, there's a higher conscious. Like, science has been able to prove that. And for me, it's God. For you, it could be whatever higher conscious you believe in. It's okay, as long as there's a higher conscious. Thank you so much, Mamita Lupita. I'm having like amazing, thank you very much. So that was my goal today, to just share with you guys, empower you, serve in any way that I can. Take this as momentum. When we move energy, we create momentum, and we open opportunities. And as mommies, if I have mommies in this group, we cannot allow the everyday mundane and children and issues to stop us, because I would have had so many excuses. I would have even had excuses today to like call Victoria and say, Victoria, I'm sorry, I'm out of the Facebook Live because this and this and this happened, and that's really not serving anybody else. Put the golden rule into your favor. Give, because what you're going to get is twice as much. It's the golden rule. One more quick little tip that I want to give you guys, because I know you guys are like business owners, and I love that, and I think that everybody should live off their gifts. I truly believe that. Write down your goals on Sunday in a yellow paper with a red pen. I have hundreds of red pens, girls. I have all types of red pens, markers, Sharpies. I'm not kidding. Write it down. Yellow is the color of prosperity, and red is the color energetically of it will be done. It will be accomplished. Besides that, there's this whole other theory that I can give you about why it's so important to write it down. And it's not so much about you have to write it down to anchor it into your life. It's more about energy you're calling in. There's power in the written world, in the written word. There truly, truly is. Oh, you gave me life with this amazing group. When it comes to Reiki and pranic healing, what's the difference? Sorry, not sure. It's okay. I don't know a lot about Reiki. I think they both are no-touch modalities. I liked pranic healing because the basic in pranic healing is that you have to be successful. Like, you have to be successful and abundant. You have to. A healer can only lead by example, meaning that they show you a lot of ways to anchor prosperity and abundance in your life, and that's what I was looking for. I needed abundance and I needed prosperity. So that for me was really what drew me to pranic healing, and the fact that it was like a doctor. I was like, okay, that sounds very professional. So I don't know the exact difference. I do know, and some of you are probably going to kill me with the crystals, but pranic healers have this specific theory about crystals. This is the crystal that is used. It's called a wand in pranic healing. And this is a small one. They have bigger ones with gold, and there's a huge, and I want to point this to you guys because I truly believe in this. So there's a huge theory about it, and it's that the energy here, the chakras are this big probably, and you don't need anything bigger to cleanse a chakra or to cleanse an energy center. So you get what is called an activator, which is a big quartz pink crystal ball in this hand, and with this hand you cleanse and you energize. And with crystals, I don't want to get too much into detail because I know that we have a lot of women that work with them, and I truly respect that. But in pranic healing, they have like this theory of crystals and of you shouldn't wear certain crystals. Not every crystal is what they say it is, and you should be careful with that. You should. So what I would leave you with, just research it and don't take somebody's word for it. Don't take my word for it. Don't take just one person's word for it. Just really research it. And in Pinterest, you will find a lot of information of pranic healing. And I usually do Facebook Live speaking about pranic healing. One more thing is, this is what we use in pranic healing, and it's a spray to decompress energy, to remove congested energy from our bodies, from our space, from our crystals, from our sessions. You guys can do this, okay? So this has witch hazel and lavender. Those two things put together. There's other things that we use, but that's like for public knowledge. Witch hazel and lavender essential oils, a few drops is enough to clear energy, cleanse your crystal, cleanse yourself. If you're just like, I can't do this anymore, that's another little trick that you guys can use to do that. And you can use it in your house, in your business, anywhere that you guys want it. I just finished a session, excited to catch the replay, excited to have you here. Thank you so much. Okay, guys, well, thank you for sharing your energy with me. I felt very uplifted. I am sending all my love to you guys. If I can serve you in any way, you know where to find me. Thank you so much for this group. My intention is that it continues to grow and that I can support in any way possible. Thank you, Victoria, for this opportunity. Your solar plexus is so on point, so on point, and this is just the beginning for you. I'm sending all my love to you guys, and I hopefully will see you guys soon.